Tonight, a Fox 8 joint investigation between Fox 8 and The Lens questions who's making tens of thousands of dollars off a new type of drug diversion program at municipal courts.
It has resulted in fewer people going to jail, and some say while the program is a good one, the process leaves a lot to be desired and raises questions about why the sheriff's wife is benefiting.
Early last year, NOPD officers started writing more summons for pot possession instead of arresting so many suspects as a way to ease the caseload at Orleans Criminal Court. DA Leon Canizero says it worked.
The cases have moved much more efficiently in the municipal court. The time to dispose of the cases has been cut literally by 1/10 of the time.
The new policy landed almost 500 marijuana cases in municipal court over the last 12 months instead of Tulane and Broad.
Chief Judge Paul Sens says right now only about 30% of the people who are caught with pot in the city are arrested. The other 70% are issued a summons, and that, he says, has reduced the cost of housing prisoners here from about $7 million to $3 million a year. He says there's also another plus.
We don't want youngsters at 17 and 18 years old carrying a criminal conviction on their record when they're trying to go to college, law school, or to try and find a job. That's the whole, that's the whole idea and concept of what we're trying to accomplish.
Instead of jail time, pot defendants can now opt to go through a court-supervised disposition program to avoid a criminal conviction. They must agree to submit to drug testing and undergo substance abuse counseling. That counseling is done through a company called Brightside, incorporated in January of 2011, just a month after the change took effect. Turns out that company is owned and operated by Rennie Gusman, a licensed social worker with a master's degree in counseling. She's also married to Orleans Parish Sheriff Marlin Gusman. Judge Sens admits he waived a formal selection process for Mrs. Gusman's company. Since she helped him develop a pilot program, he says she was the only person even considered for the work.
She is a licensed professional counselor with the state of Louisiana. She's got a master's degree in counseling. She's got 25 years of service in that field with young people. She's uniquely qualified. That's the reason she has the job.
And there was nobody else who was qualified?
I don't know anybody that's as uniquely qualified as she was.
Rennie Gusman did not respond to a request for an interview, but in her Psychology Today online profile, she lists nearly 24 counseling specialties. Substance abuse is not on that list. Loyola law professor Dane Cialino says the arrangement between Brightside and the court raises questions.
People probably should ask why could this contract not have been put out for public bid? Why is it just being parceled out by the municipal court in what may seem to some as kind of a brother-in-law arrangement?
You see, Judge Sen's brother, John, works as Sheriff Gusman's director of purchasing. But the judge says the sheriff had nothing to do with his wife's newly formed company being selected. According to Sens, Brightside made $28,549 doing substance abuse counseling at municipal court last year. 492 pot defendants paid Gusman's company directly for each appointment, which takes place in the law library at the courthouse.
These programs do not cost the city of New Orleans or the court one penny. These are all done. They're what they considered offender finance programs. So not a dime of public money is going towards from the city or from the court to handle these programs, and they are giving us a valuable resource.
Many might look at it as the government's not paying the bill here, criminals are, so we shouldn't be concerned about the cost. But we should be, because even these accused individuals who are diverted into these programs have to pay the bill, and at the end of the day, it's more money out of citizens' pockets.
And even though the pilot program ended, some question why other providers have not been brought into the mix.
One would assume that you would open up the field to other potential providers. Because if you're going to the private market, which is totally fine, then other private providers should have a chance to weigh in.
Tell anyone who has 25 years of professional service, who's a licensed professional counselor and has a master's degree, we're willing to listen to them or anyone else. This person is uniquely qualified. I think, that's my take on it.
In the meantime, Judge Paul Sens sees nothing wrong with the sheriff's wife getting all the work.
Sheriff Marlin Gusman did release a statement. He says, quote, the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office is an independent entity that operates separately from the Orleans Parish Municipal Court. Inspector General Ed Cotreveau says he wants to know more about the arrangement, telling the Lens, quote, this would appear to be, if it were a contract or a procurement, a violation of the city's procurement policy, which requires 3 quotes for any sole source contract. He adds any sole source contract over $15,000 has to have a written justification for not competing it.
All right, so how's this handled in other parishes?
Well, we talked to Jefferson Parish, where the DA's office actually runs the program, a much bigger program. It's been around for a long time. Aside from some in-house counselors, they tell me that they use a long list of providers if they have to outsource. So they don't use just one company or one person.
It's a number of them. Okay, thanks.